Hey everyone, I am back. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. I hope that you have had a really great and wonderful week. For those of you who are new, I'm trying to get these settings here. Let's see. Okay, there we go. For those of you who are new to Mental Health Moment, welcome, welcome again. I am in the Tampa Bay area, Florida, and yes, I am back alive. So, how many of you saw the solar eclipse? If you missed it, you definitely didn't miss it if you were on any form of social media or watching the news. I feel like that is all that I saw yesterday, was just tons and tons and tons of people like watching, this eclipse, which was cool. I saw a slight glimpse. I'm in Florida, so we had like a partial one here, and my neighbors let me borrow their like solar eclipse glasses really quick, so I could see like the cool features through the solar eclipse glasses. So that was a pretty cool thing. But again, thank you for those who are starting to join here. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. For those of you who are brand new to mental health moment is about learning ways to improve yourself. So how do you become the best version of who you are so you can show up powerfully for yourself and for those around you? That's what mental health moment has been about always. I wanted to share with you, well, first I wanted to remind you before I give you some of the tips today. I wanted to remind you all, especially for the newbies to mental health moment, how important it is for you to be checking in with yourself. And what I mean by that is to be checking in on your emotional health and your mental health and your physical health and your spiritual health, right? Like literally taking the time to do that because life can become really, really overwhelming. So, for some reason, myself included, it just feels like the energy right now, maybe it's the time of year, is that it seems like there's a high level of feelings of being overwhelmed. So everyone I feel like I've talked to in the past 2 days or so, a lot of my colleagues are really, really overwhelmed, myself included, because there's just a lot on the plate. So I wanted to take a quick reminder for you to remind yourself to check in with yourself. Meaning, are you saying, "How am I doing? How am I doing? What do I need?" Right? What do you need right now, emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally? For some of you, you might be like, "I really, really need a break," which is good that you recognize that. Maybe some of you are just saying like, "I'm too busy, I'm too stressed out to take a long break." But oftentimes we need to take the breaks that we can. Meaning, if you only get like a free minute or a free 5 minutes or a free 10 minutes out of your day, that counts too. But make sure that you're taking the breaks that you need because there's a lot going on and it can be really overwhelming. I was just in Dallas this past weekend, actually, doing a speaking engagement, which was a last minute thing, but just it was a really quick, like flying into Texas and flying back out, flying back home. But again, as I mentioned, there's a lot happening, and a lot of my colleagues that I'm talking to as well are saying that there's a lot going on in the world and happening. Actually, before I give you all the tips today, I do want to remind you that next month, which is crazy that May is next month. To me, that's just crazy. I don't know where this year is going by. It feels like it's flying by. But next month, May 24th and 25th in Philadelphia, I will be speaking at the Get to Worthy Summit, which is on your screen. It's gettoworthysummit.com if you're able to register and attend. It's essentially a mental health and wellness summit. I'm super excited for it. It's being thrown by a dear friend of mine, Nate Evans Jr., who is phenomenal in the mental health space. Phenomenal speaker, phenomenal human being. He is producing this summit, which is exciting. There's going to be panels there. There's going to be speakers there. There's going to be so much information. Again, like how do you grow into who you are? How do you change your mindset? How do you grow into being a better person and connect with other people, like-minded people there? So I'm super excited. So if you're in the area or if you're interested in attending, again, those are the dates. The promo code Hammond10 you can use to get $10 off. You're welcome. Off of any general admission or the VIP ticket there. So I think they still have VIP left. I'm not sure. But nonetheless, Hammond10 is the promo code if you're going to register at gettoworthysummit.com. So I wanted to let you all know that that'll be the next place that I can't announce that'll be open to the public this year, but definitely be having some other engagements. So I'll let you all know when I'm able to, of the ones that are open to the public. But thanks again so much for joining here. If you're just tuning in, it's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. So today we're talking about how do you deal with feeling overwhelmed? And I'm chuckling because this time of year, as I was mentioning before, for the people that came in a little bit earlier, it's just, I don't know, it's just an odd time. It's kind of sort of beginning of the year. Before you know it, though, it'll be the summer, and it just seems like people are juggling a lot of different things. So a couple of things. One that's really important for you to think about is make sure that you are intentional with your time. I know it's easier said than done, but it's so critically important for you to make sure that you're intentional with your time. What does that mean? When you truly prioritize your time. So we talked a couple of mental health moments ago about time management, which is on YouTube if you didn't see that one. For some reason, they're all on YouTube, Dr. Nekeshia Hammond YouTube. But we talked about time management, but it's so important when you really start to prioritize your time and you're intentional, you will organize your time in the way that works best for you. So you have to say to yourself, what is the highest three things on your list? When you are intentional in your day and you're like, these three things are my most important things, whatever that is for you. If you're like, it's self-care for me, or it's my physical health I need to think about, or it's my family I need to think about, or it's my friends, or it's my job, or whatever it is in your top three of the day, making sure that that becomes the priority. There are so many distractions out there, you all. There's so many distractions for your time, like a gazillion distractions for your time. But when you're intentional about how you want to spend the day, and when I say intentional, it means when you wake up in the morning, no, you cannot control everything that happens in your day, of course not. But when you wake up in the morning, you're like, okay, my intention today is my top three should be somewhere a part of my day, right? So, for example, and yeah, let me know in the comments for you, right? If you would say the top three things that you're going to be intentional about in your everyday, what would some of them be, right? So, for me, one of my things that's very huge is my physical health. So, I try, it's not 7 days a week, but it's 4 to 5 on average. Sometimes in a really good week, it's 6, but trying to be really active because right now at this stage of my life, I feel very young, y'all. I'm not gonna tell you my age, but at this stage of my life, physical health is a really high priority because my schedule's so doggone hectic. And in order for me to run around and be doing the 500 things that I'm doing, I know that physically I have to take care of my temple. So that is very high on the list. Meaning, when you make that intentionality, again, that whatever it is for you, and let me know in the comments what it is, your top three, or maybe your number one. But that's one of my top three. But when you make that as an intention, then you literally will start to schedule things around it. Now, I will say though that you will be distracted. Whatever you say is your priority, you will be distracted at some point. There'll be something else that pops up in your day, and you have a decision to make. You really do. Like, are you doing A or are you doing B? Well, what was your intention for that day? Or maybe it's for the week. What was your intention? What did you say you were trying to focus on? Was it, again, your physical health? Was it your spiritual health? Was it emotionally doing better? Was it your friends, your families, work? Like, what is it in that week or that day that you set your intention to do? Now, of course, there are distractions that will come up that have to be attended to. So we're not talking about emergencies, right? That's life. That happens. But the non-emergency things, you know what I'm talking about. The non-emergency things that pop up that are just there to distract you. Phones, social media, someone calling you needing something that's not urgent, whatever it is, all those sorts of things, you always have a decision to make, right? Is it A or B? But how you make that decision is how hopefully you've already set an intention for your day or for your week. So again, what is important for you when you think about the highest priorities, the highest two or three things? I would say at least three, but the highest things that you want to prioritize in your day. You know, you need to be spending time doing that. And the reason why it's helpful is because when the distractions come, it can be really overwhelming. It can be like highly overwhelming when these things come. But if you already know what you set your intention for, it can reduce your stress just a little bit. It doesn't make it all go away. We're not making all our problems go away here, but it can really help you deal with the overwhelm that comes. The second thing to think about is perspective. And for some of you who know, that is my word for 2024. And I'm really glad it's my word because I feel like I'm starting to think about that every week. Putting things into perspective. The vast majority of things that you stress about are not they're not going to be something you need to be stressing about more than maybe 3 months or 6 months or a year or however long that thing is. Some things, yes, have a really longer toll on whatever it is that you're going through. But a lot of things, there's things that I stress about right now. And I'm like, wait a minute, in 3 to 6 months from now, that's not going to be something I'm worrying about. So I have to constantly be putting things in perspective. So that's the second thing I want you to think about today. The first one is to think about your intentionality, meaning what is your intention for your day? What is your intention for your week? And then the second thing to think about is, are you putting things into perspective when you're getting overwhelmed? So for the person in the chat that wrote, for example, they have self-care Sundays. That's again an intention, but it's a form of self-care that you say, hey, I want to make sure that I'm doing this every Sunday, right? Or maybe you have Wellness Wednesday, which is a day that I love as well. But maybe you say, okay, on Wednesdays, I'm doing these three things. I'm making sure that I put myself as a priority and I'm making sure that I'm intentional and I'm putting this form of wellness, whatever that looks like for you, into your life to deal with the overwhelm. Because one of the things that's really important, you all, we've talked of this at length on Mental Health Moment, is that if you like, for those of you who feel overwhelmed right now, if you continue to operate at that mental level of just feeling so stressed out, it affects you physically, not only just mentally with the thoughts and the worries and maybe sadness or however it is it manifests for you, but also it's going to affect your physical body. It literally, you're literally giving off uh, signals to your body that do all sorts of things, really, that can lead to raising your blood pressure, that can lead to issues with you eating, that can lead to issues with you sleeping, that can lead to all sorts of diseases and things that we don't want, right? We want us to have healthy bodies, but all of that can be affected. All that stress can affect your body in that way when you're not actively working on how do you manage your stress. Sometimes it looks like you dealing with your own internal struggles or whatever it is that you're going through, but sometimes setting your intentionality for the day or the week is having to think about other people in your life. So I know a lot of organizations that I've spoken with about burnout prevention. What happens is for some people, they've said like they're stressed and overwhelmed by their coworkers, right? So you can't change other people. I mean, that's a whole nother mental health moment. Let's just say, simply put, that you're not changing your coworkers, but you can change how you approach whatever difficult situation. Being intentional. It all starts with being intentional about how you respond to people. If they're toxic, if they're stressing you out, is it worth the argument or whatever it is that